There's a video that I want you guys to see that'll set the stage for our time today. You can roll it.
I have a very interesting take on the cultural impact of hip hop, and it's a strong one, you know, so I just want to prepare people for that at home. I think that hip-hop has done more for racial relations than most cultural icons. And I say save Martin Luther King because his dream speech we realized when President Obama got elected. But the impact of the music, you know, this music didn't only influence kids from urban areas, it influenced people all around the world. People listened to this music all around the world and took to this music. And racism is taught in the home. I truly believe that racism is taught when you're young. So it's very difficult to teach racism when your kid looks up to Snoop Doggy Dogg. And if you look at clubs and how integrated they had become, before people partied in separate clubs. There were hip hop clubs and there were techno clubs, and now people party together. And once you have people partying, dancing and singing along to the same music, then conversations naturally happen after that. Within conversations that we all realize that we're more alike than we're separate.
And would look at what Jay-Z said and really say that he's necessarily sociologically wrong. When I look back at a National Geographic article that came out in about 2007, it began to lay out this cultural art form's global influence. I mean, you saw people in the bush and in Tibet with hoodies on and fitteds and snapback caps and listening to art. They had people that were picking rice in Asia in water and pulling up rice, and they had on earphones and listening to this art form bumping as they're picking up rice. You can only imagine. The gospel is a force to be reckoned with, and if hip-hop can transform or bring some level of common ground through ethnic minorities and ethnic majorities globally, how much more can the gospel, if intentionally engaged based on the theological and eternal epistemological intentions of God, why isn't it having greater impact? Bumping as they're picking up rice, bumping as they're picking up rice, bumping as they're picking up rice. And if hip-hop can transform or bring some level of common ground through ethnic minorities and ethnic majorities globally, how much more can the gospel, if intentionally engaged based on the theological and eternal epistemological intentions of God, why isn't it having greater impact? Reading from the ESV version of the Bible, it says, "After this I looked, and behold, a great multitude that no one could number, from every nation, from all tribes and peoples and languages, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed in white robes." With all you do is an arguing eschatological nonsense, then what can happen is you can mix and miss the expositional and exegetical significance of the Christology of Revelation.
I myself have imminentized my liquidation, therefore, ergo, i.e., that is the instigation, which is excessive cleavage, shall we say.
Globally, how much more can the gospel, if intentionally engaged based on the theological and eternal epistemological intentions of God, why isn't it having?
Lickets my probiscus. Undouche me. I can find my own damnation. A very vaginative proposition, my man, that is to say prostitution pertaining to the cotex, you understand, of the argument. I myself have imminentized my liquidation, therefore, ergo, i.e., that is the instigation, which is excessive cleavage, shall we say.
Romans 16 and 18. Okay, it says, for they that are such serve not our Lord Yahushua by their own belly, and by good words and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple. Okay. First off, I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushua Bahashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Okay, that's all praises to the Most High and His Son. Double honors to the apostles. Shalom to the elect. Shalom to the brother and the families. So forth in sincerity. Okay. I want to go on this video here with the Dr. Eric Mason. Okay, I was inspired by this video listening to Apostle Tahar video on Revelation 7 and 9. And I've done, me and numerous other brothers have done counter videos with this Revelation 7 and 9, okay, going into explaining what that's talking about. But I'll even go a little bit further in Dr. Eric Mason's, his translation, which he uses the ESV. Okay, but first, I like to say that these guys, as you see, he's promoting Jay-Z and what Jay-Z is saying about this multicultural society and everybody being under one banner and under one jurisdiction, one religion, New World Order. You get the point. But what Jay-Z, Dr. Mason, and all of them don't understand is us at Great Millstone, and I think seem to be the only group that pushes outside the color barrier. Okay, so we'll see that, a so-called white break dancer or a white Hispanic dancer or whatever, doing those different dances and moves, they would be Israelites. We're the ones that's speaking that it's not about the skin color. We're breaking that color barrier, but we also bring in the truth to the fact that there will be Israelites out of all, that would be the seed of Jacob, okay, out of all nations, okay. Let me go, and I'm getting ready to go into the book that he goes into. So we understand that Dr. Eric Mason, he has the right last name, let's put it that way. And this is purely sold out, okay? This is not what a so-called black preacher of the old school would have been saying. But this is what he's saying, because under the 501c3, you see it in the movies. You see everything that's being promoted, okay, by this man and his system. And Jay-Z goes on to say racism was taught in the home. No, that wasn't taught in the home. It's right in front of your damn TV. We lived it. Especially the older brothers, and maybe some of the younger brothers, but the older ones especially, we lived racism, man. So with the psyops and the actual racism perpetuated on the planet, seems like we're the only ones that's supposed to behave and accept racism. Meanwhile, the ones who's truly perpetuating racism, there's nothing to say about them. They're not doing videos saying it's okay. We're the only people that accept anything. Dylan Roof goes into a church, blow everybody away. Our people stand on the outside with some goddamn arms in hand in hand, rocking back and forth, playing some Negro spiritual hymns. That's our people, man. That's our people. And we're telling you, according to come back to the Heavenly Father so he can come and deliver us from this madness. Okay? So anyway, without further ado, let's go to Dr. James, well, not James White, Salaki, Dr. Eric, all these doctors, man. Let's go to Dr. Eric Mason in the ESV, which is English Standard Version. Let's see what it says. Revelation. Well, let's read it first in our version. Revelation 7 and 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Okay, so before that we got to go back to Deuteronomy 28 and 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even to the other. So you mean to tell me that the so-called blacks, that we got scattered, I'm going to say Israelites, who were so-called black people, got scattered across the globe, and we decided, well, we're going to keep it black king and black queen, and we're just going to stay with our own nationality. Meanwhile, we were raped too. So we're all going to be the same color. Right. Anyway, and there thou shalt serve other gods. You know? It says gods with an S, so, you know, we're not just serving Jesus Christ. We're serving Muhammad and Buddha and every other god on the planet, whither neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Okay? So let's go back to Revelation in the ESV. Okay, let's see what it says. After this, and look, and behold, a great multitude that no one could number, from every nation, from all tribes and peoples and languages, standing before the throne, before the Lamb, clothed in white robes with palm branches in their hand. This is the ESV, English Standard Version. So I noticed they took out the word kindreds, but like we do at Great Millstone, I went into a little bit further research, and I looked up each one of these words, okay, multitudes, you know. So I'm going to just get to the point. I went on down to tribes. Now, when you read Revelation 7, you got to read the whole thing. It says, let me go to Revelation 7. Let's see what Revelation 7 says from the beginning. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but when you read, starting with the fourth verse, it mentions all the tribes that were sealed. And it mentions Judah, sealed 12,000, Reuben, sealed 12,000, Gad, you know, and it mentions all these tribes. So when you go on down to the verse 9, and it says Joseph was sealed 12,000, the tribes of Benjamin was sealed 12,000. And then it says, praise the great multitude. And that's when it reads, and after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations. Right? Because we were scattered through all the nations. This was John wrote down. Okay? So we were scattered through the nations. And with the nations, we would have different kindreds and tongues, right? Because, you know, we all spoke Hebrew at one time. Well, now amongst being scattered, we would speak different languages. So anyway, I don't want to jump off the point. So when it goes on the word tribes, when you look this up in the blue letter, and it seems to be the same. They just take out words. G5443. Let's see what it says.
Strong's G 5443. Foulé.
Okay, it says Foulé, and their tribes. Let's see what it says. It says a tribe. In the New Testament, all the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch of Jacob. A nation, a people. Okay? So when you go back to Revelation 7 and 9, according to the ESV, it says, let me see, and after this, look, behold, a great multitude that no one could number, from every nation, from all tribes and peoples and languages. So that's talking about from all the tribes of the people, and have of all the different languages, meaning the tribes would be scattered amongst all the peoples on the earth. Okay? So that's what that's talking about. So when we go back to the KJV version, okay, let's go back to the KJV version. Okay, I've done videos like this before. I'm sure other brothers have too. Okay, it's going down to kindreds. Let's read it again. It says, and this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all numbers and kindreds and peoples and tongues. Okay? So, stood before the throne. So in this text, in the KJV, let's see what the word kindreds mean. Okay? It says numbers and kindreds, G5443. 5443. Let's see what it says.
Strong's G 5443. Foulé.
So in the KJV, the kindreds is tribes. Well, let's read it. Let's see what it says. Okay. Here we go. In the New Testament, all the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch of Jacob. You know? Now, when you go to, I believe, Acts, the 2nd chapter, I'm going to have to get that real quick. Let's go to Acts 2, verse 5. Okay? It says, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, which proves that Cornelius, who was considered a devout man, had to be an Israelite, out of every nation under heaven. Okay? This was well known back then. This is known today. Okay? That all the Israelites would be scattered amongst all nations under heaven. So anyway, there's not much to go on there. Dr. Eric Mason he gets continue to get cut in his own scriptures, and then he's got this jailhouse educated talk that when you're speaking to people, you're supposed to be speaking to people in a way that they understand. Some of these people that sit in this audience ain't the most educated, and I'm sure they don't understand a damn thing he's saying. But because he has good words and fair speeches, you know, he sounds good. He's flicking his fingers and he's got it going on. Everybody wants to believe a smart Negro, you know. But the smart Negro, they don't understand is set up, okay? We're the smart ones, okay? And we don't need these extra critiquing words to sound like we're super educated to get you to buy what the hell we saying. You see, when you're with us in the spirit or you're not. That's like overkill of words, man. Just to try to enchant you into following his doctrine. This is why we call this craziness madness, man. Anyway, I hope this lesson was edifying and teaching, you know. That's all I have on that. Shalom.